When Jacob returned to his dorm after tutoring Sophie, he found that all the guys on their floor were gathered in their room playing board games. However, Sam, who was always the most social person in the dorm, was already in bed, ready to sleep. "Sam, how come you're sleeping already?" Jacob asked as he put his bag on his desk.
"I need to rest up and get up early for tomorrow's practice," Sam said. "Are you done with your tutoring?"
"Yeah," Jacob said.
"How much do you make tutoring each month?"
Sam asked. "Enough to get me through my daily expenses," Jacob answered vaguely.
"Just quit this tutoring so that you can play basketball with me every evening. We will be the best partners on the court,"
Sam urged enthusiastically. "Sorry, Mr. Point Guard, but you are on your own." Jacob tapped Sam's forehead and then left the room. Jacob was too tired from the day to join the guys to play, so he went to bed early as well. The next morning, at 5:30, Sam woke up Jacob by shaking him hard. Opening his eyes drowsily, Jacob found the energetic Sam standing before him. He knew that Sam must have not slept due to excitement.
"Get up! Get up! Time to go! We will be late if you don't hurry,"
Sam urged as he jumped up and down like a little kid. Roused by Sam's tugging, Jacob had no choice but to get up. Their other roommates were also woken up by the commotion and forced themselves to get up as well. To their surprise, the guys in the nearby dorms had also woken up. "Geez, it's only 5:30. Why is everyone so excited today?" Jacob was astonished. "Let's go and watch Sam and Jacob practice," Ryan called, walking out of his room in a pair of shorts.
"Heck, there's nothing to watch,"
Sam yelled.
"We won't watch you, idiot. We'd like to see Kathy play," one of the guys yelled back.
Jacob was disappointed when he figured out the reason why the guys had dragged themselves out of bed at such an early hour. They would go there just to watch Kathy and him play together and then never let him live that down. They will surely make Kathy uncomfortable around him as well. After stumbling around and finally washing up in the bathroom, they rushed toward the main entrance of the college. For most of them, it was the first time going out of their dorm building so early in the morning. Kyle was already waiting at the gate with the rest of the basketball team. He looked at his watch while counting down the seconds. Sam, who had been chatting with Ryan, saw this and dashed toward them.
3.
Sam was in front of Kyle when the latter counted down to 2.
"If you are ever late again, you won't be joining us,"
Kyle said with a stern expression. Then he turned to the other teammates and said,
"Start jogging."
With steady steps, he began to run while the others followed him promptly and in uniform lines. Looking at Sam's embarrassed face when Kyle yelled at him, Ryan muttered to himself,
"Kyle's so strict. I think Sam's days of fun are over."
Jacob chuckled before crossing the campus to the outdoor basketball court. Ryan and the other nosy guys followed him closely to watch him practice. Kathy's bike was parked outside of the court. When Jacob reached the basketball court, he found Kathy, who was already practicing. She was in a pair of khaki-colored shorts and a white t-shirt. She was a bit surprised at the sight of the group of guys who had tagged along with Jacob. Jacob walked over and scratched his head in embarrassment. "They insisted on coming and watching." Kathy blinked and remained silent. After a moment, she just nodded and went on to start the practice. Ryan and others, who had rarely crossed paths with Kathy, were starry-eyed when they looked at her at such close range. They had seen Kathy in class, but none of them knew about her athletic prowess.
"Have you had breakfast?"
Ignoring the stares, Kathy asked Jacob.
"Not yet. We came directly from the dorms, and the cafeteria isn't open yet,"
Jacob answered. Kathy nodded and dashed to her bike, saying,
"That's what I thought."
She lifted a bag from the basket and handed it to Jacob.
I got up early and bought some sandwiches, she said.
Jacob was amazed.
You should eat them so that you have the strength to practice. I've already eaten.
Kathy pushed the sandwiches toward him.
Kathy, can we have some sandwiches too?
Ryan asked her.
Those are the last two, and oh, that's right, you are not here for practice,
Kathy said sharply, turning to glare at them.
We want to practice too.
They continued their antics. Kathy turned to face Jacob. Just ignore them. Jacob was exasperated. After eating, he immediately felt better.
Okay, you warm up a bit, and then I'll show you how to play.
Kathy briskly nodded at Jacob. Jacob nodded back and did as he was told. While Jacob was warming up, Kathy picked up the orange basketball from the ground.
We'll start with the basics. The first is dribbling. Dribbling is much more than bouncing the ball, she said.
Kathy bent her back and kept low, moving her left arm in front of her body in defense while her right hand pushed down the basketball deftly. The ball bounced up immediately, and Kathy followed the momentum and held the ball in her palm before pushing the ball back down with a standard move of her wrist. Her technique looked as if she were a professional basketball player, and just yesterday, her brother had said that she wasn't that good. Everyone was just watching her go with a gaping mouth and admiring the all-rounder she was. Their eyes moved up and down, glued to the ball as it hit her palm and then the ground. In between all that, Jacob noticed that some of the boys were not actually looking at the ball. When he followed their line of vision, his eyes fell on Kathy's cleavage, which was visible through her shirt when she bent down. He looked away and was disturbed by the thought of boys staring at her like perverts. So he gave them a hard glare and stepped in front of them to cover Kathy from their view. The guys who were staring at her understood that Jacob saw them and averted their eyes to look elsewhere. But Kathy had also noticed this sudden movement, and she stopped dribbling and looked at Jacob in confusion.
What happened?
She asked him. Nothing, he answered, but he didn't look directly at her. He then thought for a moment and turned to the guys and said, I think you've watched enough. Why don't you guys leave now?
What? But why?
Ryan asked in disappointment. Just leave, Jacob said angrily. The guys who were the culprits didn't look up once at Jacob because they were scared of him. They had seen Jacob beat the shit out of the basketball team with their own eyes, and here he had caught them staring at his rumored girlfriend. One of them immediately stood up and said,
Yes, Ryan, let's leave and let them practice.
The other guys, who were unaware of the whole situation, were disappointed and left reluctantly. I'm so sorry about them, Jacob said, turning back to Kathy.
Will you tell me now what happened there?
Kathy asked, seriously. Jacob was hesitant to tell her, as he felt a bit awkward, but seeing her determined look, he gave in. He said, while avoiding eye contact, A couple of the guys were looking at you inappropriately, and I didn't want you to feel uncomfortable.
Oh,
Kathy exclaimed, taken aback. She immediately understood what might have happened and was speechless. It was very sad, but she was used to guys staring at her weirdly, especially when she was playing a sport. She looked down at her top, adjusting it consciously, and looked away to avoid looking at Jacob. I promise I won't let them come here again, Jacob said, for lack of better words.
thanks. Anyway, let's get back to practice. Where were we?
Kathy picked up the ball again, but the atmosphere had gotten too uncomfortable for her. Dribbling, Jacob answered. He wanted to make her feel safe with him, but he didn't know how to comfort her.
Right. So observe how I'm using my wrist, okay?
Kathy cleared her throat and decided to let the incident go.
I was right to never talk to any other guys in my class. So many of the college boys are like that, who only cared about themselves,
thought Kathy. She then went on to start dribbling again, a little more conscious of her position this time. Jacob made a note not to let his eyes wander from the ball and her wrist. She kept giving him instructions in between, which he paid keen attention to, since he couldn't dribble for the life of him. On the other hand, some of the boys still stood outside the court, looking at Kathy and Jacob from a distance and getting jealous of their closeness.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.